Welcome back to the PGL Americas Minor. It is our next best of three of the day. It's Cloud9 versus CLG, and we're going to find out which of these two teams goes on into the grand finals to play Immortals. Joining me on the desk now is Moses and Sadikist. Hello, welcome back.
Hey, bud.
Thanks.
Hey, bud.
How's everything going?
Yeah,
Good,
very
bud.
well.
You?
How are you feeling? Welcome back to the desk.
Thanks,
it's good
buddy.
to have you here.
Cheers.
How are you feeling?
I'm excited. This is going to be a good matchup. The NA rivalry, the NA derby, as you guys call it. It's going to be quite good, I think. A lot of potential fun stuff.
I actually don't think it's going to be good at all. I think CLG showed they don't know how to play T-sides today. I think Cloud9 is going to batter them after seeing that this morning. I'm sorry, I have to say it.
Okay.
That's very interesting. Okay. Talking of Cloud9 then, let's very quickly get into the team lineups for people who are just joining us. We've seen these teams a couple of times over the last couple of days, but for people just joining us, give us a quick rundown of these very familiar faces.
Obviously, I mean, if you'd have to be crazy to not know these guys if you're following Counter-Strike, but just in case, yeah, Stewie and Automatic are kind of the power dude that they have. They're the kind of the two creators of this roster, and then the veterans and Nothing, Skadoodle and Shroud. The big thing to highlight here is that Skadoodle is having perhaps the best single tournament performance we've seen out of him in some time. So since I can remember, I can't really recall the last time I've seen him playing this well, which is very, very good to see. Stewie's the in-game leader, very aggressive player, likes to take map control on his own. Likes to go through smokes. That's always the meme.
I would really like to see someone take that photo and Photoshop Jordan's beard on all 5 players, if we could.
I think that could happen.
Yeah, it's a very
Knowing
clean
the internet.
cut beard on that picture. I think it's very easy to just do a basic Photoshop selection on it and just pull it, drop it in, little Control-T, free transform, make it fit each
It's got a pretty
face.
nice beard, I feel. It's always a shock to see it in real life because he spent so much of his time clean shaven. But
Yeah.
it's good looking beard.
Yeah, point stands that Skadoodle's having a fantastic tournament. Great event from him. I'm not overall impressed, though, by the Asian duo, Stewie and Tim Attic are not doing that great.
They seem to be very hit or miss in some of their games. Like they either show up in a big way or they don't show up. But like the one thing you can say from them as a team, no matter who's playing well, is they just show their T-sides as just like pure aggression. It's just pure, fast-paced, like very visceral. Just get into the bomb sites, get map control, rush somewhere, delete anyone who's in that position on the opposing team, and find your way into a bomb site. When they've been forced to slow down, like we saw against Immortals yesterday, which is one of the few times we've seen it happen, they really struggled with that kind of aspect of their game.
And then CLG, we've just seen them come off of a win, but actually it wasn't totally plain sailing for them. They looked like they were struggling to potentially close out those games, but they did in the end. So how do you think these guys are going to fare against Cloud9?
They have the tools, obviously, and they're very capable of doing it. I think they're starting to become a very well-rounded team. Yeah, their T-sides today in the matchup we just saw really struggled. Didn't see a whole lot out of it. But certainly they have the ability to slow Cloud9 down as well. And then if they can do that, it's anyone's games or anyone's game. I think the big problem is they're going to rely a lot on the AWPs, as we saw. Kus is going to want one, Ricky's going to want one at times as well, and Cloud9 is going to thrive if they ever can't have those double ops, because that is one of like the easy ways to punish that kind of fast pace. Because when you're at that speed, if you're Cloud9, you don't always wait for your own smoke to go down. You're not always waiting for the pop flash to be perfect. You're just kind of going with it and playing by feel. There's going to be opportunities for those ops to get picks, and if they're not, then they can get punished quite easily. Also, Cloud9 is going to have, I think, a deeper map pool than CLG.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, the CT sides were very good today from CLG. There was no question. They were getting aggressive, I think, in most cases when they need to, especially if they go back to a map like Cache, because we saw Cutler and Ricky just being relentless in the checker position trying to take over B main. So I think that their city sides have no questions and no holes. Their double op setup is very formidable. In fact, I would say a stronger double op even than what Cloud9 brings to the table, but it's, again, the T sides. Now, thankfully, they've played 2 games, so maybe they're warmed up in that sense. Maybe Cloud9's a little slow to get started on their CT, and I'd run with it. In fact, if I'm wait until we see who picks what here in the veto. If I'm CLG, Cloud9's the upper seed, they should get first pick, or they get first ban.
I'm not
well,
sure.
first ban would be first pick, sorry. So, yeah, so they would get, so in that case, they get to pick. I might pick T side early to see if we catch them sleeping.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just going to be interesting, because the T sides that CLG, I think their T sides are going to be a little bit better, right? But on the other side of things as well, I don't think that defense that CLG had. I mean, the LG squad can't do the same things that the Cloud9 squad can. So
True.
to say that those defenses are going to be just as good, you obviously can't rely on that. The big problem I see with CLG moving forward is that inability to close. They've referenced it. We've referenced it. We've seen it on stream multiple occasions. you know, if you can't close out against a team like Cloud9, if you're up 14-10, you need to close that match out. You can't be giving that lead away. So if they don't have that figured out, if they don't come up with something, they're never going to break into that top echelon of North American Counter-Strike, even much less internationally. And Cloud9 is a team that can make those comebacks, that can catch that momentum and that fire. They can just run away with it. So if you're having a tough time closing, you were going to be in for a rough time as CLG.
Talking of momentum, then we saw, how about the sort of the aggressive play style of Cloud9? Do you think that's going to play a big factor in this?
I mean, yes, no question. Yeah, because obviously if CLG wants to get aggressive and take over map control, if Cloud9 can counteract that, then they'll be in a fun spot. I think, again, it's not about playstyle for Cloud9. It's about whether or not Stewie and Automatic show up to me. I know I'm being repetitive, but seriously, yeah, cool. They've had a pretty off tournament in that sense.
Okay, let's have a look at the veto then. We've just mentioned some maps that could suit these teams, and these are the actual maps that have been chosen. Cloud9, Inferno, CLG Cash, and then if we need it, Mirage. What's the initial thoughts on Inferno first, the first map?
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see Inferno. I think this could be... I think this is going to be more of a Cloud9 map. Obviously, it's their pick, but I mean, yeah. I can't see... Their aggression up Banana is going to be so nice if they can gain control of that. That's such a critical portion of the map. And you know, I haven't seen too much of CLG on Inferno. But if they can't control Banana, you kind of lose control of the map in a certain way. Also, I mean, both teams are going to have very proactive defenses. I want to see the aggression from the Oppers in that sense. And actually, this may be somewhere where we see Stewie picking up the Op a little bit more as well, just because on Inferno, if you have like a very, very passive Opper, not always getting the information, you can kind of get stuck out in no man's land. You can kind of, you know, lose track of where your opponents are. So I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Stewie who's going to be peeking down Banana, wants to peek down mid, maybe push into alt mid, pick up the op a little bit more in certain situations. But it's all going to come down to whether CLG can use their utilities smart enough to stop that Banana take from Cloud9.
How do you feel, Matt, about Cash coming up after that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I mean, obviously, I agree with Jason. I think Inferno has to go Cloud9's way, but Cash coming into it as the second map, we just saw them play Cash. They did struggle on their T side. Now, it's... In games that are so one-sided like that, it's kind of like Jason said. We expect more from a T side coming out of Cloud9 than what we did from Luminosity. But on the flip side of that, you know, how good was Luminosity's defense and how poor was CLG's offense? You know, which is it? It's hard to really read when some teams are making mistakes and other teams are playing good. Like, which is outweighing the other? Are the mistakes making the team look good, or is the team so good they're causing the mistakes? Right?
It's hard to read that. Forth, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the question is if they can get their T side going, I think there's a chance that they make that game close. If they don't win Cash, it goes 2. I don't see them winning Inferno.
Yeah, they can. I mean, the nice thing is they have, you know, as Chad likes to call them, the combat operators. Ricky and Kusta can both kind of thrive in those situations. We've seen it from time to time where they do very good when everything's kind of collapsing around them. They could both kind of pull some magic out in those scenarios. You know, Inferno is a map that, you know, it's tough. I don't always like double ops on it, but like when it works very, very well. We've seen way more situations where it hasn't worked, but I mean, those are when, you know, the last time we really saw double op on Inferno that you could criticize was the grand finals of Starladder of Kiev when Nico was using it in the B bomb site, and that was just like such a passive way to hold it, and it was getting punished repeatedly. Yeah. This, though, they're different style operators. Like Ricky and Kusta like to go take that quick flick shot, or like to reposition very quickly in that bomb site, find a new angle to take, and they can really get that close range opping done very well.
The interesting thing about that is Nico was doing that very stubbornly, and they were getting countered. Somehow they won the game, and he had a round that it actually was like looked like the hero, and it's like, oh great, one round's going to outweigh all the other 4 that you failed with it. And G2 is the other team that used to do it, and it was interestingly in that series as well against FaZe that Shox got countered so many times at the top of a Banana on Inferno. So those are the 2 teams that have run the double op before.
Either way, both teams have like someone like Shroud. I believe he plays Pit as well. And then
that's his best position of anywhere, in my opinion.
And Cutler as well plays the Pit, if I remember correctly, for CLG. That could have changed up.
Yeah,
like I said, I haven't seen them in a while. But like those are both like the players that you would expect, like the typical players. Like their play styles just kind of suit that, so they're going to be very strong players in that sense. The question also becomes, it feels like CLG has an advantage in terms of their organization and like their retakes, which is super critical on Inferno. It seems like they're the team that actually have like a structured plan of how they want to retake, a little bit more patient, whereas Cloud9 is just kind of they're still under that impression that you have to do everything you can to prevent the plant, so they'll maybe throw a player, you know, here or there into the action, and he'll either make the hero play or he'll get killed, whereas CLG can rely a little bit more on some kind of set plan in those situations, which, you know, for me, I always benefit CLG in that, the team with the structure, team with the plan.
Cool. So we're waiting for both these teams to be ready up. We can see them there on stage. Before we do go into the game, though, we're going to do some social media questions.
I knew you were going to go here, James.
Excellent.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready for this?
These are
okay,
my
you guys have been sending us these questions on Reddit, so keep them coming. Thank you for that. The first one is, what is the smartest play you've ever seen? By Verilyn.
All right, you go first. I have 2 in mind already.
God.
I don't know if they're the smartest. They're the
Wait,
smartest I can recall. I don't know if they're the smartest I've ever seen.
A few of them are ready to go.
Snacks. Was it Katowice or Cologne 2015? Tosspot was casting it.
Oh, the Mirage?
Mirage play. Gets in behind them, trigger discipline. Everyone walks toward him, gets all the kills. Yeah, how does it go? It was Bialy gets down in the middle. Oh, you would have bet your house on him hitting that shot. And then this is massive. He waited, he pulled the trigger, and they all just walk in and he kills them all. But a smarter one than that, I think, is actually on Train recently. I can't remember what event it was. It might have been the major. Zippix 1v3 has like a CZ and like 15 HP, gets in toward the alley, opposite side of Hell, and just baits them out and uses timing and clutches the round in one of the best ways I've seen. And he's so good. He had another one on Overpass as well. Bomb was down top of the stairs in mid. He sits and waits with like 1 HP on an angle and just waits for them to pick up the bomb, times it perfectly, goes back. And I think Zippix is among the smartest of all the players right now in CS.
Yeah, I would go away from maybe like an actual individual play and say, I mean...
Oh, you're going to go strategy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to come up with like the best one I could find is like there was the old Fnatic used to run this tactic when back before they were like right when they were emerging as the best team in the world, before like Olaf Meister became the best player on Mirage as well. They used to just set Olaf up with an AWP in the palace, and he would just sit there for like 45 seconds, and the rest of Fnatic would just have mid, and they would apply a lot of pressure to connector, to window, and Olaf would just wait for someone to rotate back into his crosshair, and like that was the entire plan of the strategy, was just to force someone back into that crosshair, and that was always really, really smart. I thought like a really cool micro strategy to get just one pick, and those are the kind of plays that I love to watch as well. There's so many smart plays that go on. It's hard to like just pick 1 or 2 out.
Yeah. I mean, like FNX's play on Cobblestone. The only reason I wouldn't reference that one when he gets in behind, it was actually used in the trailer for the major. The only reason I wouldn't reference that one is because it was actually a huge misplay by the CTs, both looking at the mid ramp, and no one was watching stables. So as smart as it was from FNX, it was too easy to really. I mean, that could have been shut down. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's the ones I can recall. There's thousands of plays. Kerrigan going in to get the ninja, again, super smart that he sits around to go for it, but he was actually looking for a gun.
Yep.
Even his teammates thought he was looking for a gun. He gets the ninja. Snack, same thing on Mirage, walks in. Like, there's a lot of luck on that.
Config knifing someone in overtime at the major
Dumbest
qualifier.
play I've ever seen.
I think that was my smartest.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Cajun was so ready to kill him. It was unbelievable. Like, unreal. Cajun would have, too.
You can't recover from that if you
hit.
lose that round, can you?
No.
There's no going back.
No, that would have been, I think, literally config out of the team. Like, I think that would have been it. Like, they just would have been like, sorry, dude, you just ruined everything. Go home.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think we have another one.
Perfect.
Another one? Cool. Which players have fallen off the most from their top 4?
Markelov.
Ooh.
That's
okay.
straight in there. You had that locked and loaded.
Yeah, he's referenced Markelov like 4 times today, so he has it on the brain.
But
that's a good shout. From where he was in 1.6
yeah,
to now,
I mean, yeah, okay, but
if you isolate it to CSGO.
That's what I was going to say. I think the question's probably more designed for CSGO. So barring out all the old legends, I don't know. Who would you pick?
Actually, I mean, I still think outside of this event, leading up to this, I might have said something like Skadoodle is someone who fell off quite a bit. 2015 was being considered as one of the best stoppers in the world, countering Guardian, and then it just kind of looked, leading up to this, like he was just kind of out of it. Seems to be coming back, which is nice. Let's see, the drop that Get Right had, like from the major qualifier, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah,
Olaf's
really
kind of bouncing back a little bit now, and obviously the injury, so you can't kind of directly relate potentially between the two. I'm trying to think. I'd have to look at some of the HLTV ratings, because the thing is, now some of them are so long ago that I don't remember them being that good. They've just become secondary players. Whereas like sometimes when you look at like the 2013 and like 2012 ratings, you go, whoa, that guy was like number 13. What?
Yeah, and I mean,
like I have to actually look.
Great example of that was like 2013. NBK was like the hard carry of some of those old Very Games lineups. He was like one of the few players who could individually match force and get right in early stages of CS:GO. And he's kind of fallen, I guess, in that sense. But it's not like any dip in skill. It's because he's just taken on an alternate role. Like he's no longer playing in the positions. He's no longer trying to be the hard carry, right? He's like made himself the support player of that team, and he's made himself like just like a utility player. So that's kind of one, but for maybe a roundabout way.
Yeah. It's tough. It's kind of all gone full circle. There's really no one that stands out to me of being just shocking compared to where they were. Even the guys that have fallen, like even Olaf, like I say, like he's still like a top position. He may not be #1 in the world dominant like he was, but he's still
You
he's still
also get a
comfortable in
pass
Tier 1.
when you're like the most dominant and easily #1 player for like a year and a half. Like that'll probably never ever happen again. That an individual player will dominate the game the way that he did for that long of a stretch. It's actually incredible to think about.
Yeah. Well, we are ready to go into the first map. So thank you for answering those questions, and thank you for your insight before that. We'll be back after this map. Yes, we're going to hand over to, it is Anders and Chad for Inferno, map number 1.
Thank you very much, James. And yes, indeed, we are ready. Are you ready, Chad? I'm speaking of both of us. Are you ready?
I'm definitely ready.
This is going to be a good game, I reckon.
I agree. I think Matt ruled them out pretty early there. He said that CLG aren't really going to have a shot, but I think they have a great shot.
Yes, I think so too. I would probably pick Cloud9 as my favorites, but it's definitely not a sure thing. And if they can keep their 3 stars alive on CLG side, Nathan and or Ethan and
yeah, he's done that to us.
He's done it, hasn't he? And Kuster and Ricky, then I think they've got a really good shot.
Yeah, I agree that there is a big chance for them here. Last time these guys played in this tournament was on Mirage. It was 16-12, and I think just a few little things let them down. A slow start was definitely one of them. If they can start strong, they already have this warm-up game, which Cloud9 don't, right? We've just seen them go through a bit of a war, a slow start into a really good finish on that first map, and then a really good start into an extremely slow finish on the second. So it looks like if they can move, get those 2 parts, put them together, we might actually have a good match on our hands here. And one of the key factors, I believe, for CLG to have a chance is they have the structure. They need to go back to that on their T sides. It was something that was working for them in the past. They need to try and just make sure they've got that down nice and crisp. And then on the CT side, the flair needs to be there. The individual stepping up, getting those multi-frags like we saw out of Ricky on Cage then. He was being very dominant towards that B site. Inferno is one we haven't seen, though.
Yeah, we've only had it once, I think, at the qualifier, so people are a bit afraid of playing Inferno. So wait a minute, so what we can basically say about CLG at the moment, like the current form, they have a really hard time getting into a map, and they have a really hard time closing it out.
Yeah, so how would you ever win a game?
Certainly an uphill battle. Yeah. Certainly made your life hard at that point in time. So I think that's pretty on point then. So yeah, if they can turn one of those things, if they can have a good start or end up strong, or one of those 2 things work out, maybe they have a really good shot here. I think Inferno's a fun map for CLG to be playing in the first one here. I don't know if they're going to be sort of experts on it, but I think no one is. So I think it's anybody's game. I actually think Inferno's a map now you could take down some top teams on if you just had 1 or 2 good tricks that you hadn't really shown anyone else.
Well, for Cloud9, they just beat G2 on this map recently at the EPL finals pretty badly. Spanked the pants off them, actually. So it is a good map for Cloud9, or at least, if you look at that result, it can be seen as a good map. I'm surprised that we're finally seeing a bit of variety in the vetoes because it was pretty stale up until this point. One of the key factors, I think, for CLG is making sure if they win the pistol, which they have done quite frequently, is just converting those 3 rounds. The issue is, Inferno is a map where the Ts, they can do a lot of set plays. If they get banana control, they can do a Molotov execute onto that B site, be very effective there. We've seen A executes in the past done by the French, wrapping around arch side and pushing through mini pit and grabbing a lot of kills that way. So I don't know how CLG can look to fix their anti-eco woes, but it's something that they have to address in this match if they want to make sure they have any chance of winning. We need to address, a bit of the elephant in the room, though, Anders. Even though we would say C9 are the favorites, yesterday they looked abysmal versus Immortals.
Yes, and I mean, when they're playing the sort of style that we were highlighting, that Stewie leading them into sort of, fast pushes, aggressive styles where you rely on that individual skill, which they certainly have.
Yep.
If for whatever reason just 1 or 2 of your players aren't really feeling it, it's not really the day for it, that can backfire so badly, can't it? So
they need to adjust their approach, I think. I don't have any problem with Stewie finding space on his own, right, and going from there. That's a really good play for him because he does have really good instincts in game, but the issue is the rest of the team are also kind of doing their own thing and they can't collapse on any areas together. I was looking at the stats before. Jordan has like a very high, Nothing has a very high rating when getting the first frag and then Cloud9 converting the round from there into a win, whereas the other players are all, 15% lower than him. So if they had structure where Stewie goes, finds his own space, have Jordan with the pack as the entry fragger there, maybe they can get some action done and maybe something for them to look at in the future.
Well, we are about to find out. A big welcome if you're just joining us here. This is the PGL Americas Minor, and we're getting very close to the end of it here. CLG and Cloud9. One of these 2 teams is going to be playing Immortals later on today. That's going to also, no matter what happens, going to be a very exciting match. It's CLG starting on the CT side here on Inferno, and Cloud9 on the terrorist side. They're bringing a bomb over towards the apartments, while just a little bit of a fake or a little bit of a presence in the T mid here. So this could be interesting. They could be trying to lure, if they make enough noise over the apartment side or even get a kill, they could be trying to lure someone out of banana. That's actually sort of a pop strat that we use fairly often.
It's something that's possible with FNS pushed all the way up down to tree. Kusta will be baiting for him in this scenario. They haven't taken the bait. Pop Flash goes over mid, and there's not going to be any movement out of the players from banana, and the attack on A is coming in.
They do have one flashbang there from Skadoodle being set up. Goes all the way over the roof. That's really high up, so I'm not sure it's too effective, really. Ricky will go down, and look at Shroud. Doing a lot of damage. You will be nothing taking down Ethan, and Cutler falls next in line. So now it's Finesse and Kusta trying to stop the bomb, but he can't do it. Finesse needed just one more bullet there, and it would have been done. Maybe they could have actually won the round, but now it's looking tricky, even with that kill. 2-on-3, and they are walking into a three-way crossfire here. How do they break it open? They don't have any kits, and currently no grenades either. Kusta doing his best to find some headshots, but he's locked in, and Stewie will take him down. And Cloud9 win the first round. Yeah,
Shroud just melted that A defense, jumping into the pit, grabbing 2 quick frags. Glock long range towards mini pit arch side there. That was nice to see. One of the things I think was interesting was how early they were happy to use that smoke. They didn't have a lot of utility as it was a pistol round, used it to cover off mid, which means that, you know, CTs will normally go for that duel early to pick down middle. They have the USPs, it's the better weapon in that scenario, and get a lot of information. That smoke meant they couldn't do that. They had to just play more of a passive setup. And from there, Cloud9 waited out for any aggression. Nothing came in, had a nice little out palace strat or app, sorry, with one flash, and away you go. Make the frags you need, and simple as that. The thing which is interesting now is CLG opting to force buy back, and on a map like this, Anders, you have to say it's quite easy to set up crossfires with those CZs. You can be very effective in close ranges, and if you wait out the time, the Ts eventually have to come into those close quarter duels.
You're right, but there's a counter argument to that as well, which is that the sort of traditional, the grand old way of playing Inferno is that once you're on the CT side, all you want is M4 smokes and Molotovs, so you can buy time forever and ever, because everywhere is a choke point on Inferno.
Yeah.
So if you can just keep the smokes, like hold them long enough, and keep, you know, Molotoving and smoking, you just buy so much time. So I'm not saying that's going to be impossible with this kind of a buy, but it'll make it a bit more difficult in the fourth round. So
I think on this new version of Inferno, right, not being able to throw the smokes from the A bomb site to cover off banana is a factor, which means, sure, you know, you can still use all those or use all of the utility to cut off the choke points, but you can't do it from one side of the map to the other. So
and it's huge that you mentioned that.
Yeah. You have to play your rotations a little bit better in that scenario.
Yeah, that's something that people forget about, because we've talked about all the changes to top banana and everything, but actually the one that goes from arch to top banana is maybe one of the most important smokes that's been removed. Certainly causes a lot of issues. I haven't seen many attempts for anyone to try and fix that. You know, maybe you could have the arch player could rotate back and forth towards B at reasonable times if you thought it was possible or whatever. There could be some other ways to get that smoke back there, but no one's really tried it yet. Easy enough top banana control being taken here by Cloud9. They haven't really been presented with any targets at this point in time, and looks like they are just going to fall back. They've got the bomb really far back as well.
Yeah,
so.
A key factor if they do decide to go B is when FNS uses this smoke. Over towards that site, he does have a flashbang and a smoke grenade, and that could really stifle the attack if Cloud9 leave it too late. They're kind of just posturing right now, waiting for any aggression coming out of these guys from CLG, but something that I've been very... I guess impressed is the way that CLG are just happy to sit back in the sides and make multi-frags. It's not something easy to do. You can get a bit jumpy when you only have these pistols, and normally you want to go out and find frags, but they're more than happy to let them come to them.
Yeah, and it's surprising because it doesn't seem like much. You know, you say, oh, well, if he saves the smoke, maybe he can do something. But actually, it's surprising how many top teams will make mistakes when that smoke goes down that around, 30-second mark. They feel like they're suddenly under a lot of pressure, and sometimes they'll just even run through it because they just almost run out of time. But it looks like they've swapped around to the A side of the map, which is a pretty good choice at the moment. Cutler goes down to Stewie, and now there is a slight crossfire here, but it gets broken wide open, and not even any trouble here for Cloud9 at all.
I was going to, say that CLG did a really good job then of not over-rotating. That smoke and flash from FNS came in handy towards B. It smoked off the choke point flash so they could see and get some information, and they found out nothing was there. Cutler probably should have just fallen back to that A site. With 20 seconds left in the round, if they want to wrap from arch, you still have to force them into those close crossfires, right? So would have been more beneficial for them in that situation, but it looked like he just wanted to grab a flank, maybe catch them as they were going up Diggity side. And that's no frags on the board for oh, sorry, FNS got one there, didn't he? But very little damage for the boys from CLG in that round.
Yeah. You're gonna have to remind me. I mean, I know it's become a meme at this point. Where's Diggity? Because I've seen an Australian map once where everywhere was.
It's porch side, quad side.
All right.
Yeah. One of the interesting things is Kusta has saved up enough money, so he will have an AWP next round. It's just, they're not as effective on this map as some of the others. You can still be very annoying with AWPs, but not to the same level. There's going to be the eco farm coming in for the guys from Cloud9.
Yeah,
Two easy frags.
The timing, the grenade on top of the UMP, it's got to hurt. Yeah, the stack over here, I mean, you get those two people top banana, you probably think, oh, there can't be that many more people there. But in fact, there is. Sadly, they only have USPs, so can't expect too much. Although Ethan will get a kill. They're going to pick up the bomb in T mid now and just probably try and get that plant over at the A side to make sure that nothing goes out of control here. Automatic being put under some pressure, and oh no, the team kill. Ricky, he's been really lining it up today.
He wants all the frags himself. But that little eco strat there is an oldie but a goodie, right? It's rush banana and have your 2 B holders die.
Yes.
And then the other 3 players stack the site. And as simple as it sounds, what it normally does is draw the Ts into just rushing into the site. It's like, okay, normal B holders are dead, let's just go. And that's what you'd expect out of a situation like that. Knowing that they only had USPs, or that it was likely that they weren't going to have anything really upgraded in that situation, makes it less scary. If that was the first round,
yes,
the first eco round, I would have been a bit more tentative in the way I would approach that, because that stack with CZs, with 5.7s, is a lot more dangerous.
All right, now nothing. Just the one who's out hunting for Ricky, trying to see if he can maybe steal the UMP back. I mean, UMP can be pretty effective on a map like this,
sure,
even in the next round.
Definitely something to hang on to, I think, because like you mentioned, that utility is going to be vital in a situation like this. And the guys from CLG, you know, we have a FAMAS on FNS. We don't even have a Molotov on Cutler. Ricky, because of that save, is able to get all the utility. And Kusta didn't actually opt for the AWP. He's gone with an M4, but he does have all the utility and a defuse kit. So I'm surprised they didn't go for the AWP. Maybe they have something planned.
We'll find out for sure. They do have the smokes, but they're missing 2 Molotovs, so that could definitely be a factor later on. Every little bit matters on this Inferno map. I used to always look for around the sort of sub 40-second mark. Like, that's when I look at how many smokes are left, basically, on the CT side. And if there are none, then I would say that's a bit of a shame. But we'll see if it's going to be different this time on the new version. Kusta and FNS get 2 great kills. That's very unlikely that you can get that kind of battle on Banana, especially the new one, but that's just perfect.
They didn't take that fight straight away. It was something we were actually talking about before the game went live, doing Banana retakes. They did that very effectively, giving themselves a 3v5 advantage early on.
Great flashbang being thrown from Pit by a teammate. Automatic decides to move up, but he's already taken a bit of damage, and he's going to be very careful here. We'll find Ricky, though, when he realizes FNS is there, but he can't get the kill. Crouches right under. Ethan takes 1, and now a lot of trouble for nothing. He will go down. They only lose Ricky in that round, and they manage to swap out for 2, actually 3 AKs. What a great steal. Yeah,
that B player there basically won the round, right? It forced the guys from Cloud9 to go to that A site. They were in the number disadvantage and just got picked off one at a time. It's going to be much more difficult on a map like this for players like Automatic and Stewie to find that free space. You know, you can't really take too much away from the CTs unless you're willing to push through smokes, which we know they definitely are, but you're going right into the lion's den in that moment.
It's very dangerous on this, especially on this map, I feel like. With some of the other maps where you push for smokes, there's still more of an opening, like the architecture around you is a bit wider, so you can maybe still do it. A lot of these sort of positions on Inferno really are choke points to an extreme degree.
Yeah. If you just look at the minimap right now, you can see how much that Banana retake has stifled Cloud9's approach. They didn't go into Banana early at all. They're only taking that map territory now, which is almost better than using a smoke, right? It's delayed them. And now they're going to put down a smoke, which is going to buy them another 20 seconds. And they should have 1 more on Kusta to lay down. So this will get them down to about that 40-second mark you were talking about.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. Ricky hasn't got any kills yet in Archway, but he is just waiting for it. This is definitely an off angle. Like, if you're coming around this corner at your Cloud9, you won't expect someone to be standing right here. You'd be expecting him to be a little bit further to the right. So we'll see if they're going to be ready. Maybe they will flash their way in. Here's a grenade going over. It's going to land behind him, though. Let's see, Automatic. No flash at all, but he still gets the headshot on Ricky. That's so unfortunate. I don't think he was expecting it. Just really great reaction coming out. Now the bomb is dropped. Ethan trying to do more. He can't transfer that spray on. And that's going to open up the whole A-bomb site. Finesse and Kusta going for the retake. How are they going to manage this?
Jeez, this has to be one of the hardest bomb sites to retake in all of Counter-Strike at the moment. And no utility makes it even more difficult. So unless they can find a miracle here, someone overextending from Cloud9, they might just go for the save.
They need that quick, and you're right, no opportunity's been given. They are going to be falling back, and that will be a round for Cloud9, resetting CLG right when things are going so well.
So they are, or I would, if I was then forced into this next round, right? We're going to have 2.6, which will, get bumped up a little bit for FNS. Kusta's 2.7 will get bumped up as well. Should be enough money on Ethan to buy for himself, so they can get guns across the board for the next gun round because so many survived in the last one that they won. So that's very important. And there is a chance for them, if they do win this next gun round, it's going to slowly hamper the money for Cloud9. So definitely worth the buy here. Just maybe another aggressive approach somewhere on the map, or maybe some kind of mid-round move to take territory back. Something that I'm really passionate about, Anders, I want to start a foundation for it, maybe you'll join, is transitional defense on this map. You want to make sure you're jiggle peeking all the corners when you can, because what that does is, even if you get into a duel and you just shoot a bullet and fall back taking no damage, it forces the T's to take longer, take more utility to clear that out, because there's always the chance you'll be there. You never want to sit in pit straight away, you never want to just sit in the site straight away. Always play for a little bit of information. I'm not saying pick down mid, but the pace has changed.
Wow, they're going to run Ricky right down. He's not having a good game at all right now. Big contrast to the last one. Ethan comes pushing through. He almost takes down Skadoodle. He's down to 19 health. Shroud up in the graveyard, takes down Cutler. And once again, even worse than last time here for CLG. If the retake was going to be difficult 2-on-3, now it's 2-on-4. They are trying to see if they could find just one opening that they need, but I'm not sure it's really worth it here. Man, this is rough.
Well, they were playing a transitional defense, but they got caught off guard. When those nades come in, I don't think they were expecting them to be rushing up middle and got caught with their pants down. If they did the old sit and pit and sit in sight like I was saying not to do, they would have been in a much better position. And Cloud9 changing pace, they're mixing it up. It's good to see a bit of variation in their play, not just relying on fast plays. They have done slow stuff as well, so good change by them. And a new look Cloud9 today, I think.
It's a good jump from Kusta. Not too difficult to actually make that one if you try. I never thought I'd seen in an actual official game. Chad, do you want to define it for us for any new viewers that are tuning in and wondering what do you mean when you say transitional defense? Okay,
so on the CT side, you want to hold the bomb side, obviously, but you need to make sure you're playing for information at certain points. So I would say sitting on the corner of the arch side of middle, not back in the arch, literally on the side where you can see into the mid corridor, right? Same as on the diggity side, the quad side, doing the same thing there. And then for apps or halls, playing at the end, jiggle peeking that point. You don't want to give away the free information for the Ts, right? You don't want them to be able to walk up with no contact, not having to use any utility, not keeping them honest at all. Because if you do that, they're going to get to the end with everything they have in their arsenal to be able to execute on you for free. And that's not something which is necessarily a good thing.
So just trying to use some of the forward positions on the map and make sure that they actually have to get there, and that
it's not even for the kill. It's just for forcing them to use utility and keeping them honest. Because if they walk all the way up, you have no information, and you could have so many grenades being thrown your way, and you can only deal with so much.
And it makes for a nice contrast to what's actually happening on the CLG side here in the B bomb side. Obviously, there is no way to transition out of this B hold. You're just on the bomb side and ready and waiting, which might work out if they can lure Cloud9 far enough in. But the bomb is all the way back towards T spawn. Cloud9 aren't really going to do anything, it seems like, until they know what's actually happening.
I love this position from Kusta, right? It's so cool to look through the water on that fountain, sometimes a bit of a cheeky off angle. Stewie's going to creep in here under the smoke. Flash comes in, so this is a bit of an awkward play.
Oh man, he's managed to sneak all the way in, but when he jumps up, there's two more people waiting for him. I thought that was so cool, but sadly he didn't realize how many more people were there, so probably a great trade there for CLG, at least in terms of getting the AK and still keeping the M4, but there's absolutely no chance FNS can hold this alone. He's got the FAMAS and he's down in pit and will get run down. So they just save the M4 here and be happy with it, M4 and AK.
Yeah, well, they kind of have to, right? Like I said, there's no way back into this A bomb site unless you have utility, and they definitely don't. Cloud9 have plenty of time to set up in those after-plant positions and lock it down. They shouldn't get too hungry for frags. They don't need them, because right now, by keeping CLG with these guns, what it's doing is it's making them take gambles, making them continue to hold on to them, maybe force buy them down the track. Something that I think is interesting is that move that we just saw out of Cloud9. That wasn't just Stewie pushing in on his own. That was a practice move, and that is something which I'm very happy to see come out of Cloud9 in this instance, because sure, it was Stewie the one doing it, and it's a very risky play, but if it happens, that's why we do call him one of the best players on this team. And it's a smart, well, I don't know if it's super smart, but it's an interesting way to kind of get information, get into the site, maybe infiltrate the bomb site without being noticed. And some innovation coming in from the Cloud9 guys, I think, there.
Which is hard to come by in the world of Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Everyone's so busy traveling from events and doing more practices and playing in online leagues and all the rest of it. So it's difficult for people to come up with anything new, it seems, especially on sort of reintroduced maps. I'm kind of excited. Listen, while we have this timeout going on, I want to ask you, because you're one of the people who actually have been in a position to have to do this.
Okay.
We've been talking about the smoke timings once you're on the CT side and, when you want to throw them down and you want to save them, all the rest of it. Now, if you're the in-game leader on the T side,
yes,
how do you keep track of how many smokes have been thrown all over the map? Don't you need to know at some point if they have any more left, say, and what's going on?
It's pretty simple. When you do the default spread, or you call your default strategy, your players all have to relay that information back to you, right? So when they're playing towards either bomb site, they're calling what smokes are being used when the next one comes in, and it's very easy as the in-game leader if you're sitting in a middle position on the map and you're not having to worry about taking any duels or holding any forward positions, to just grab all that information, work out where it's come from, and then make a decision on where you want to go. If you're doing something a little bit more random and sporadic from time to time, it gets chaotic and then you don't really know what's happening. But in a default spread, it's very easy. All your players know their job. They know they have to relay that information, and that's the importance of communication.
Oh, right. That's very cool. I think that's good to know, because I think when people play in matchmaking, say that's something that never happens. That's a part of the game that's just, gone, essentially. So worth thinking about just where the information comes from and exactly how to figure out what is going on. We've got a new round coming in here, the 8th one in, and looks like there could be another flash from middle to the balcony, and then a straight explosion out right into Cutler's face. And we've got a grenade in hand. That's very dangerous, but spray comes through. The Molotov, it has got cancelled, but it doesn't really matter. FNS will also find a kill on Stewie. Maybe finally a chance for CLG to do something here in the 8th round. They've got the man lead, and Cloud9, how do they find their way back here?
Bit of a missed flash there. We'll get Jordan nothing white in the boiler room, but it's all slowed down. It is a 4-on-3 situation, so not impossible for Cloud9 to pull off here, as they are looking a lot stronger. If they can get Skrudel up middle and get him to arch side with that AWP, they can find a lot of territory and maybe wrap on the bomb side. And that looks like that's what they're going to do. Skrudel moves over with nothing. He's going to get a fight in library.
Oh, FNS. He had the right idea the first time, just the shoulder, but then he decides to go for the full peek, and that's dangerous. But Cutler's there, takes one, goes for the second, should be able to. Cutler cleaning up the whole round, 4 kills for him. Magnificent hold coming out.
I just want to point out how powerful that position, that line that Cutler was playing just there is. I think that's the new Imba spot in pit. It used to be like playing behind circular and stuff, right? You could get Molotov'd out, but there was still a bit of wiggle room. This line just here, I think, is so...
circular?
Before? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we call it dildo.
Yeah, I try to keep it PG.
Since when?
I think that new position right there is super effective. This is the 9th round of the game, Anders, and I don't think I would say that CLG have had a full gun round. And by that I mean not every player on the team has had full utility and kits and the weaponry of choice. They still don't. Ricky doesn't even have any utility.
No, you're right. Definitely an uphill struggle for them at the moment on the CT side. I'm shocked that they're getting so much banana control, but then they don't really seem to know exactly what to do with it. There's a couple of rounds where they won some big fights. Now again, trying to jump out the pit. Ethan from inside the bomb side. Ricky as well picking up a kill, and this is all falling apart. It's great to see Ricky getting put into play. He's been struggling a bit, but now it seems like he's back, and it will be Ethan to close out the round there. Triple for him. Just very, very clean. That was Cloud9 trying again.
Yeah.
Flash their way out of apartments, and that's 2 times that it's failed.
I don't mind them trying it again, because normally you wouldn't expect the same thing to get thrown at you, and Cutler accidentally bought in a Gev there. Unfortunately, he has dropped it. I'd love to see him use it.
Keep it.
Yeah, we would just want to see that come out at least once. But something to note in that situation was they were playing so back in the pit, right? And without information. To build on your banana point, I think once they get it, leave Kuster there with the AWP. He can play that line relatively aggressively, and you can play 4A. That's one of the best ways, I think, to play banana if you don't want to have to worry about using too much utility.
Yeah, and that's an Inferno classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
1B, 4A.
Oldie but a goodie.
Ricky falling back, but he's got Ethan there as well. And with the lack of rifles on the other side, they're still going to get the kills. Obviously, that was not how that sentence really was supposed to end. Now that leaves Cutler alone on the bomb side. Cloud9, they're going to fall back. They've got the rifles. They're just picking them up and running.
Oh, no. Cutler buying that Negev means he doesn't have any armor.
You can't be serious.
He's naked.
This can't happen. Not like this, Cloud9.
This would be a meltdown.
Yeah, FNS, now is the time to really step it up here. He's got the first kill, not using too many bullets either. Going for a bit more and falling back and reloading. Just staying alive is huge right now. If he could do that, Kuster's covering the line. He can't really get the shot through. He's almost done the damage, but still a great job from FNS here. At least makes it a 2-on-3. Man, you gotta hope that lack of an armor doesn't come back and really haunts them. That could be the worst mistake. Nothing goes down. Automatic, AK, no armor on him. Seems like a very improbable 1-on-3 to win here. Smoke is covering him off, and he's just sneaking inside it, not really moving any further, and he comes out. Cutler is there. It's not gonna cost them anything, Chad, but man, that would have been awful.
Imagine if the round fell apart and Cutler was left in a 1v1 versus, say, like a Glock or something, and he just gets his head ripped off. That would be... Oh, you wouldn't live that one down, would you? All right, we're going to see a proper gun round. Someone drop Rick a gun. Yes. There we go. So everyone has everything. This, in my book right here, for the CTs, is a proper full gun round because everybody has all the utility, everyone has the weapons they want, and defuse kits pretty much across the board. So this is the first proper full gun round that I've seen come out from CLG. So let's see if they can make sure to keep the pressure on in this situation. Cloud9 might want to go back to that slower, more reserved play because that was working for them earlier.
This time, bit of an attempt at some banana control from the T side. They haven't been trying that too much, and all that really happens is they take some damage. Looked like there was an opening to maybe take a shot at Kusta, but everyone was flashed, I think. Oh, he spotted it out, and he goes down immediately. That was very risky. I think he must have seen the guy falling in behind the woodlogs, so he was open to 2 different angles as soon as he peeked out there. That's dangerous.
Something today, well... It's not today. It's been almost the whole week. I think Kusta in these matches that have been close with the AWP has looked extremely indecisive. It's like he's asked his girlfriend where they want to go for dinner, and she's gone, well, I don't know, you pick. And he's just stuck in that limbo. It's
Speaking from personal experience,
everyone knows how difficult it is to pick someone to go for dinner.
That's true. Or go for steak? No, not that.
Exactly.
Smoke is up here, Finesse. Bit of a mountainous task ahead of him, but somehow he lands a headshot right through. He's going to be replied upon immediately. Ricky comes through, picks up the 3rd kill of the game for himself, and now they're just trickling into the bomb site one at a time. Cutler, next in line. Can he wait for Ethan here, or is he just going to try and go for it? Yeah, he's walked right through, and Skadoodle going to shoot him in the back, and this whole thing, no chance. I mean, every new person that walks up to that corner thinks, now's the time. If I do it right now, I can change the round. They die, and then the next person's like, well, but man, now's the time.
I'm not 100% certain. To be fair, I'm probably only like 33% certain. But I think FNS got Molotov by his teammates in that situation because he smoked off the top of Banana, right, as they were executing. And then he pushed to like make sure they couldn't run through the smoke, and he was going to be that first line of defense and take down as many as he could and be in a forward position, so hopefully flashes were going behind him. But a Molotov landed directly behind him, which is basically where the stairs were to go into the B site. That means if the T's threw it, they were going to have to run through their own Molotov to get into the bomb site or make a very awkward jump around the box. So I think maybe his first rotator may have Molotoved him and forced him to stay in that fight, which is not what you need.
Sort of a World War I approach, really, isn't it?
Maybe they're I think it's probably just a misunderstanding. Maybe poor communication, or whoever was rotating thought they were helping in that situation, and FNS had other ideas. He wanted to get a bit more aggressive to try and stifle that attack. Not the end goal that came out there. But I think something to look at right now for Cloud9, if we just bring open the scoreboard, you can see that the Cloud9 guys are fragging relatively easily. So evenly, not easily. Automatic is on 9 kills, Shroud's on 7, Stewie's on 7, and then Nothing and Skadula like have 5 apiece. There's been quite a few saves, so that's why the frags aren't higher than they are right now. But they're all doing it. They're all doing this as a team, and they're getting territory, and they're playing as a squad in this game, which is something we didn't see yesterday. They were getting peeled and picked off one at a time by Immortals.
Yeah, and I think I was making the point earlier on the desk that if CLG can have Ethan and Ricky and Kuster all do well, then that's a really good team. But right now, it's Ethan, and then Ricky and Kuster are at 2 and 3 kills respectively. That's a big problem when you've got, you know, those 3 are sort of part of the main engine, you know.
They haven't really had, you know, the gun round where they can get double AWPs up. I think Rick on that arch side would be really good with an AWP because it means he can hang around in mid a lot longer and not get bullied off the line by utility as much. You always seem to have a few more balls in that situation. When I used to play against Rick in Immunity, he was the main AWPer, and he was very effective on that side of the map. He would always be moved around to B when they needed, and he could even make it work on the T side. So I know he's got it up his sleeve. Whether he gets to show it is another thing.
Well, for a short moment there, we had the B Classic, or the Inferno Classic with Kusta holding over at the B side alone, and then 4 here on the A side. Automatic is still allowed to push all the way into Arch and takes down FNS. So even 4 members here wasn't enough to keep him back. And now they're wrapping around to the B bomb side. Automatic ready and waiting. Ricky walking in, and the timing is so good here for the Cloud9 player. Unbelievably smart play. 4 versus, or 5 versus 3 in fact here. Kusta is about to be in a world of trouble. I see no way out of this. He goes for the quick flick and almost takes down Stewie's second Shroud. Or second shot will take down Shroud. Now he's peeking again, takes down Stewie. Unbelievably good play from Kusta here. He's looking for more. Smoke is up. He's actually hiding inside and he's buying so much time. His teammates are miles away. Oh my god, Kusta! He goes for the no-scope, he takes him down. Flick comes out, he can't get it. Skadoodle takes him down, but that's a godlike play. Kusta with 4 kills, trapped in the corner, and he still makes that work. Now it's Skadoodle, 1-on-2. And he's behind the new box. They've already used all of their grenades. They've got to win this one. Kusta will never forgive them. Cutler's gone down, and he shot him right through his legs. If you see the instant replay of that, I'm sure that was right between his legs, and Ethan will take him down. We've got to build a statue, a monument here for Kusta on this bomb site.
Boy, oh boy, that was insane. Just sitting in the back of the site, hitting shot after shot. They got super close. He was able to hit some crazy flick, no scope, quick scope, whatever you want to call it. That was a huge play from Kusta. Wow. What can you say about that one?
Yes, what indeed. I mean, especially when the first shot isn't even a kill.
Yeah.
You think, that's not how you want to get started. And then he hit inside of his own smoke and got out and even go, I just don't even know. This is too much to handle, isn't it?
Those are the players you need if you want to have a chance here at making it to the major qualifier. So, Kusta making his mark.
That is very impressive.
Okay, that's going to be a little bit crushing for Cloud9. They had that in the bag. Automatic had all the map control in the world from that arch side frag, and then he was even stopping the rotation. It was literally 4 players. All they had to do was walk in and kill 1 guy. And Kusta says, nah, not having any of it. Stops the attack on his own. Ethan comes in with the 1v1 mop-up, and wow, that's a really important round for CLG, because if they do take this one, the economy of Cloud9 will be broken. Absolutely in the bin.
Yeah, and consequently, with the other side of that, if they lose it themselves, their economy's gone too. So everything, or at least sort of the rest of this half here, really hinges on this round, more or less.
Pivotal point in the half, indeed. Looks like they wanted to go through Arch again. Going through their own smokes was automatic. He's going to get taken by Ricky, who's dropped right back. He can't help the rest of the A defenders right now. Ethan and Cutler stuck in the side and pit, respectively. Stewie's going to find 1, and now Cutler's isolated.
And he's in a lot of trouble. Grenades are raining down at all sides, and he will go down. So 3-on-3 for the retake. Much more doable. The bomb is not even planted yet, so they're going to have time to get into position, and they at least have some flashbangs here. This can be done.
Yeah, this is the first time they're really going for this A retake. They have an equal man advantage, or not advantage, equal men across the board. And playing together on that diggity side is FNS and Ricky. Kusta just shooting off some bullets, trying to keep them entertained. The flash comes in towards Pit, so here comes the retake.
For the first shot there. Stewie's gone down already. FNS with the frag picks up the second as well, and nothing hiding in the back. They haven't seen him yet, but they're going to make quick work of that one. That's FNS picking up all 3 kills.
We've been talking in the green room about how effective he seems in a lot of these situations. Even on the T side, like they've lost a couple of guys. He just comes on in. We saw it on Train earlier. He swung down the low ramp, made 3 frags to push CLG across the line, and he's done it again here. He's not really known for his huge fragging prowess, but having impact plays like this, it's better than getting a 4K eco slaw. This is huge. Yeah,
just very, very well played. And you're right, he isn't known for that. I think in somewhere in like 2015, I think I was ready to write FNS off as like a CS:GO player. Maybe that sounds really harsh, but
no, it doesn't sound harsh.
I just felt like he wasn't improving, and I couldn't see a way that he could either. It just didn't seem like it was ever going to happen, really.
The weird thing with that roster, right, they kind of got thrust into the limelight after they had that win over Day's team. And from there, they got picked up into organizations when all this was starting to kick off. So that's Smoke.
Yeah?
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah, can I point out?
Yeah, you can.
This is the one that this flashbang is going to land and actually flash people underneath the canopy, and no one is there, but I spend a good 7 hours on this map trying to figure this out, so I'm happy that someone's been watching that video. Cutler goes for the massive spray down. In fact, they were nice enough to line up for him in the end. That's really cool.
I think that's actually a strat that NIP had made, and they've just copied that. But they've obviously used your flashes.
Yes, because, and the reason, so this is what happens whenever I do these things. So I spent an enormous amount of time coming up with some of this stuff, and then I actually usually show it to a couple of pros and ask, you know, does this make sense? Like, have I just been wasting my time or what?
Yeah.
So I think maybe Freiburg or somebody else was one of the first people I sort of talked to about it. So yeah, I still think it can work, and you can throw smoke from that position as well that lands towards Archway, so that you're actually covered when you're running out the middle. Like if they did it in this round, it would flash both those players, even if they're standing underneath there. That goes far enough into the lane that it actually flashes them fully. So
the good thing with it as well that I've noticed when I've seen it done by NIP is the two boiler players are able to run out kind of on the second flash, and when it comes down, it lands behind them. So anybody picking from side or pit will be flashed, and they have their backs you know, facing it. So they're able to just run straight into the side and entry. It's a pretty effective strategy, actually.
Let's see. The only thing is you sort of the gamble part, I suppose, if you don't know if they're there or not.
Exactly.
This time there was not so much luck. Here it is, the 15th round coming in. We've got one Galil, a couple of AKs, and really a big lack of utility on the Cloud9 side. Those Molotovs are huge if you want to get people out of the pit, and they don't have them right now. That could be a problem for later on. The bomb, though, is over on the other side. What do you make of this, Chad?
It feels like they want to keep playing on the weakness that they found, which has been Ricky on that Arch side. He's been exploited a lot by Automatic so far, and it looks like they're set up for a B split, but as I say that, the two Banana players drop back all the way. It's going to be an A attack. FNS flashes out, finds the information, and at this point right now, CLG know what's up.
Yeah, that's a lot of info. You're absolutely right. Ethan is ready to just pop out a little bit of a flashbang there to buy time. They're actually rotating back. Oh no. Kusta is alone on the bomb side once again. And nothing, just making a lot of noise. That's drawing everyone. All three players on the A side, they have to stay here and wait till nothing is going down. Now, finally, that's happened. Kusta in a new position, and he takes down Skadoodle. No problem at all. He does a little bit of damage. Takes down Stewie with a leg shot. He's done his job so far, and now Shroud will drop Ricky as well. So, no time for a bomb plant. He's simply run out of time. Oh, no. I think he lost time on the clock. I almost didn't notice either, but that's 8-7 in the first half in favor of CLG.
Look at the kill spread on the Ts. They won 7 rounds relatively convincingly, I would have to say, and they barely have any kills compared to CLG, who had to fight back in. They only have one more round, and there's a higher kill spread or more frags across the board. So that just shows how much CLG saved, which gave them more chances in future rounds, right, to have a few more guns. But something interesting, you know, is having your B player anchor with the AWP. Normally you wanted a rifler who can delay a lot. He can shoot more bullets. He has a chance to juke around boxes and stuff. The AWP's kind of rooted in one position, and if it's Kusta hitting shots like that, I guess, hey, it works.
Yeah, more power to them. Now, so you see this 3-man walk up second mid, right?
Yep.
It used to be a lot, especially if you remember JW on Fnatic. He would run into apartments or CPL, if you prefer, and actually just make a quick jump that would sort of make a spot down second mid. I feel like that's such a powerful play on the CT side, because then you know that a lot is coming here. They do have the flashbang, but it's not going to be thrown from mid like it usually is. This is going to be just a cascade into the A-bomb side, and God help anyone who's on there. The Glocks are coming. Nothing's already been shot in the face. He's trying to jiggle peek it, but it just won't work. Cutler takes him down, and next in line in the pit, a lot of trouble for Shroud. He goes down. Skadoodle's found the only refrag up until this point. Automatic taking a headshot on FNS and walking around the corner. Cancels the bomb plan. That's a massive play coming out, but Ethan is there. He takes one, and Stewie is so low, you have to think this is still CLG's round. Automatic, he's been very good today, but this might be just a bit too big of an ask even for him. He's trying to find that click now. The bomb is going down. They feel confident in doing it, so all the pressure here is on Cloud9. And Automatic making the jump up. He needs to open this up. He can't really rely on Stewie, maybe only for the flashbang, if anything, but Stewie's not even going to try for it. He's waiting on the other side. They're almost out of bullets as well. This is getting really dicey at the moment. They might have waited too long. There's a shot from one. Stewie picks up the next one, and now it is a one-on-one. He's in the corner. It's going to be the full defuse. Cutler, he's down in the pit. He's going to make his way up, and there it is, the triple kill. Cutler closing out was an incredibly long battle for that retake.
Yeah, that got
CLG
tight.
make it work.
Stewie hit some nice shots on that retake just there. Something to note, if what I spoke about before, you know, doing the transitional defense on the CT side, if they just had someone at the end of holes, jiggle spotting that corner, they would have seen all those players come into apps, and he could have dropped back into pit into that same position. But what it would have meant was they had information what was happening. Instead, when you sit that far back, sure, if a rush happens, you're probably in a better position, right? I definitely would agree with that. Maybe middle more so than holes. Holes, if they rush holes, you still have enough time to get away. for sure. In that situation, it's just curious as to why you want to sit that reserved with USPs when flashes are so potent.
Oh!
Good night.
In spite of the aim punch, he actually gets that shot on Kusta.
Maybe because of the aim punch.
Or maybe because.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We need the 3000 FPS slow motion to really calculate that one. Well, you already highlighted the power of the C-75 and the pistols on a map like this when you got the armor too.
Scouts as well, I think, are super effective on a map like this because you can do the same thing. You can scout either side of middle, and then you can drop back and you can play a scout in library. You can play a scout even jump spotting in pit if you want to know. It's not as effective as it used to be, but there's still that chance. And you just have to tag up. Once players are hurt, they walk into your CZ, your 5.7s, your P250s. It's almost a free frag. The guy's only on 30 HP.
Stewie and nothing holding over on this side, and they do actually have a flashbang each, so they could buy time, and they could maybe even get a kill. This is...
Yeah.
I would take a deep breath right now if I was CLG. This next engagement has to be pretty much perfect. A little bit of noise has been made. There comes the flash out, and Stewie picks up the kill right away now. Falling back, some great spray through from Ethan there, picking up both those kills. That's really valuable. And that may have been enough to have done it here.
Yeah, now the question is, does Shroud and Automatic try and hold on to what they have? I would probably go with yes. You can take it into the next round and still be effective, or at least try and grab a few more frags, as opposed to throwing it away in this situation. I think going for kills here when the bomb is down and they're playing this post-plant situation very well. You know, they've got their crossfires set up. Maybe you're just going to go for exits here, because if you can damage the economy in any way, that's better than nothing, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. And, I mean, will they even exit out this way? I don't see why CLG would try and do that.
Bananas always seems to be the safe bet, right?
Yeah, so maybe if they catch some of them, if they come out. Oh, actually, they will, but Cutler already with the first shot there, and Shroud not going to survive this either. So
yeah, see, I don't get that. I know they wanted to go for exits, but they weren't really in places, especially Automatic, one where he could get away. So they couldn't even hold on to the pistols or the scout that they had in their hands at that point in time. And right now, you see, their money situation, they have to almost take a full eco. Maybe Automatic can grab himself a P250 or a flash to try and help out the rest of the team. Scooter wants to hold on to money for that AWP. Nothing in Shroud. If you look at this, they're either going to have to buy a UMP to get full utility, maybe even a FAMAS to help out a little bit, or an M4 with not a lot. So this is the same trap that CLG fell into early, but they were able to make an aggressive move happen. So that's what we're going to need to see out of Cloud9 on their first gun round. This should just be a wash.
yeah, there's not even any stack or any kind of elaborate trap that's been set up somewhere, so it shouldn't be much of a problem.
So what they should do is let Kusta try and go in with that Mac 10 to see how many he can find. Have people flashing for him. Have someone there watching a line so he doesn't have to worry about everything on his own. But still let him go in to try and seek out. And if you give up that Mac 10, it's not as bad as if you give up an AK. Looks like they want to have him going in first, and maybe that's what's going to happen as the counter boost will come out from the CTs to look over that smoke. And Kusta's so deep right now.
Yeah, that's a great jump to make it up onto the coffins. I really like that. Still just running for it here. Taking a lot of damage in that one engagement, but it's only Shroud that's left right now. So I'd say job well done on Kusta. That boost, though, that you were just highlighting, that goes on towards the CT side, right where that corpse is.
Yep.
That's been just terrorizing teams on this map since it came out.
It can be used like for the CTs to either just hold from, which has almost been figured out now. When teams are pushing in, they stay close to their CT smoke, and then once they get across the pool, pocket, yellow, whatever you want to call it, then they pick the boost from there. It makes it harder for the CT to hold. But on the retakes, I think it's where it's really effective. And I think it's a cool little addition because it evens up the retake on that B side. Normally, it'd be very difficult for the CTs. But once that boost is in place, and if you hold onto your utility at the A side, or even just a little bit of it, I think it's more than manageable. Let's see if an aggressive move comes out. As you can see, those FAMASs I mentioned, I think we're seeing a swing away, Anders, on these anti-ecos from SMGs. I know we were in the era of UMPs. I think we're seeing a slight swing away from that in recent times.
Yeah, I think even going back slightly before this qualifier, that started to happen, and now it's still spreading the ripples from that change, just moving outwards. And
I'm happy about that, to tell you the truth.
I am happy about that. I still wish there was a way to make the burst fire functional on the FAMAS.
Yeah, I agree. It just really, like, I tried for a while practicing a lot with it to see how viable it was. It's just, if it was a little bit more accurate, I think it would be fantastic. And, more people would be buying that weapon and using it at range for sure.
Well, we do have automatic in that boost position, which is very reasonable. Again, they're going to try and smoke off on the low ground. You could just sort of watch over it.
Yeah.
So not a difficult crossfire to set up. This one, anyone could do this, even in matchmaking. So just make note of that if you don't know it. Oh, this flashbang everybody loves. Goes out on the chimney and lands towards the other side. It's going to keep at least 3 people on the side. So far, automatic trying to fall back, but he does get caught. Gets a kill in the meantime, at least. Stewie smoking off, but he is trapped in this corner. And with FNS jumping up on the box, there's no way out of that one. That's some quick thinking from FNS.
I love that way to entry the bomb site now. It opens up so many more angles the CTs have to worry about. And they're going to get themselves in a 3-on-3 situation in this bomb site where Skadoodle's going to get FNS being maybe a little bit adventurous there, trying to jump across to get towards connector.
Normally, he wouldn't do that. Cutler also goes down right away, and now Ethan, he's in so much trouble. We've already seen what happens if you go through this smoke.
Oh,
he's
boy.
waiting for them. They are coming out. Skadoodle is there. He hasn't fired the gun yet. Ethan! Oh, that was so smart, but the execution was so bad.
He whiffed a situation where he could have, you know, won the round single-handedly right there. If he had grabbed one of those kills, maybe even the second, he could have fallen back into that smoke, played around the corner and given himself a fair chance in that 1v1. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be the case. He did miss, and Cloud9 are going to capitalize. I don't know why FNS was jumping across in that situation.
Do you think that he thought, if I do it now, I'll do it right before they get here, and it'll be fine. And if I wait, maybe they'll Molotov me out. Was he afraid that they had an incendiary grenade left?
That would be in the back of your mind, right? But to take that risk, it just seems like the chance of them not being there is smaller than them having a Molotov, right? I mean, it's bigger than them having a Molotov. So I probably would have just waited it out, and then you could have dueled while in the Molotov and you know, surprised them, because he still had a fair amount of HP. It's not a real biggie. They can afford some guns again. They do this default spread, and as we saw that round, they had Ethan get all the way to the Ender Halls, sell that fake. Everyone else had used their utility also, and when they went back to B, they didn't even have one for CT spawn, just a couple of flashes. Did trade out onto the side effectively. It was just a post plant, so they can't really be too down with the strategy itself. It was just the execution in the end that didn't come through. And it looks like they're really posturing for an A attack as all 5 members are over towards that top mid boiler holes part of the map, and Cloud9 are cheating automatic back over to stop this.
Shroud looking into the corner, avoiding any flashbangs, and automatic on the crossfire here. They line up for Shroud. He knew about the first kill. The second one was just a bonus. It's always nice.
Yeah, I'm a bit upset that they didn't just stick with their default and run the clock down to the end, because they were so close to working, right? Like, I know that it was a flawless retake in the end for Cloud9 on that B site, but the strat itself, getting the bomb site, all of that was effective. I'm not saying run the same thing, but at least, you know, play a similar timer. Let it run down, let Cloud9 whittle down their utility and not have anything left to just Molotov you off in situations like that and get mowed down, hoping your flashes land perfectly, right? Because your flashes can only cover so many different angles, so many different corners. You can't physically get everywhere unless you have some intricate execute where everyone has, I don't know, 2 flashes each and everything is perfect. But that's not possible in Counter-Strike.
Now, if I was just joining this game now, I see that CLG have won the pistol in the next 2 rounds, and now Cloud9, they buy rifles, they start winning. So I would say now CLG have to think, we just need 5 more rounds. How do we get them, and what's the plan? Because this is looking like it could be a real uphill second half for them, and one where Cloud9 could absolutely overtake them and win it. Yeah,
well, they just got the AWP into the... Oh, no, they didn't get the AWP. They've force-spotted into this one. I saw that Cutler had enough to buy an AWP. I thought maybe he might drop one, but it looks like they want to keep the tempo going in the fight here, which I don't think is necessary because they've let Cloud9 build a small bank, a very small bank. I think they could have taken an eco and gotten up full guns, full utility, and had an even fight like that, but it appears they don't want to let that build too high. Now, in terms of the approach, I would prefer them to go back to the slow style, like I was just mentioning, wait out the utility of Cloud9 and go from there. But in which bomb site you're going to hit, I think that's something which needs to be predetermined from spawn. It's fine to say, let's do our default and wait out utility. You have to react if Cloud9 throws something at you, but I think you need to have an idea of where you want to go so everybody understands what the end goal is going to be. That can change mid-round, but you just need that kind of direction early on so people understand and don't overextend in certain situations, but it is going to be a B hit by the looks of things.
I like that Molotov from Stewie. It's a shame that they didn't have more of a follow-up behind it, but that's pretty cool.
That could build into what we were talking about with the top of banana retake for sure. And see, look at this. Right now, the Cloud9 players, Nothing and Shroud, are playing very passive. They have no information on A, but still, Cloud9 have rotated Skadoodle over. They have 3 players waiting in that B bomb site for this hit. And it is a double pump, as I call it, coming into this B site. So they've already attacked once. They've tried to bait out the utility from Cloud9, and they're going to attack again. They're just going to have to hope for a lot of entry frags here.
Skadoodle lining it up through the smoke, doesn't even care, and Ethan has also gone down automatic with a good double spray. Skadoodle doing his job to perfection at the moment. Cutler trapped in yellow, and he will go down. That's a triple for automatic, and another round for Cloud9 here.
Take a pause, CLG. Just calm down, talk to your coach, right? That style before, I'm going to keep saying it, it almost won them the round, right? They did a lot of things right in that slower situation. I think they just need to calm down, go back to that default spread, and let things settle. I know they can just take like an, I guess we call it like an eco timeout, right? Where you just kind of chill and spawn and talk about things, but your coach can't talk to you in this situation. So probably not as effective as a real pause if you want the coach's input.
Well, we do have a round here with just some pistols. So I'm assuming they'll get cleaned up. So I'll ask your opinion about something else.
Okay.
For the Counter-Strike aficionados out there who may also remember, the Envy execute, where you line up outside of the of CPL or outside of the window room,
middle, yep,
and you smoke towards Arch and Library, and then you wrap around and actually
run through it.
Yeah, you run through it. That used to be incredibly effective, and Envy would crush everybody, even if they knew it was coming. It used to work so well. You seen that done on the new version here?
A very similar one done by one of the French teams. I'm not quite sure if it was Envy or G2. They did have something very similar of that execute. The thing with it is it's when you place that execute into the rotation and knowing when it is best suited to what style of team, because it's not going to work against everyone, especially a team that plays that transitional defense, because those smokes have to land. If you know what kind of execute's coming in, you just lay down your Molotovs and you lay down your utility and they can't run through it. It's something that you need to see come in when you know that they're on a lower buy, when they don't have all the nades, or if you're happy to wait out a little bit of utility and throw it later. But that strategy from Envy would always come out within the first, I guess, 30 seconds. But it's something which even I stole and used in the Renegades days. But I've definitely seen something similar come out of the Frenchman.
All right. Well, I always thought, I think that was towards the end of the Envy era. Like, they did that and it worked really well, and then when it stopped working, it seemed like the team...
That's all they had, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was for a while, and I think that was also maybe around the team when the team was sort of disintegrating a bit anyway,
Yeah.
but I think that was one of the highlights for that era anyway, like one of the really impactful strats, and that's what they would do it with Tech9s and win, you know?
Yeah. They have the AWP on Kusta right now, Anders, and what I think they need to do is create space in middle, get the Molotovs and smokes off, push back these mid-holders of Shroud and Automatic, and then get Kusta up middle with that AWP so he can pick towards the Arch side, pick towards Pit, and make sure it's effective. He can use it at some good ranges.
Well, they haven't pushed them back, and here's the result. Automatic getting 2 big kills, but there's the return. They're running through the Molotov. Kusta doesn't care. He wants the fight, and he's going to get it. How does he find that frag on Skadoodle? Running with the AWP and not even stopping. Stewie now in a 1-on-2. And the bomb has been planted as well. CLG, surely they just need to hide. And actually, Kusta's going to get the frag regardless. That's a triple kill here for the CLG AWP. Incredibly well played. But
there we go.
Ricky also had a Molotov, so imagine how difficult that would have been for Stewie anyway.
Wouldn't have been easy, that's for sure. I thought that was all going to fall apart because the way that Cloud9 played that, they were more than happy to take that duel. They wanted to kill them as they came out of the choke point. But when they made those trades towards the quad side, Kusta picking up that AWP frag was very important. It looked like they were just going to be able to run into the site. Skadoodle was already there. He had already made his way over, found one, but that shot from Kusta, we didn't see it from his perspective, but I'm sure it must have been huge.
Yeah, that looked really, really well timed.
So Cloud9, on the other hand, right now, they're in a position where their economy can get broken here. They need to just hold on and see if they can squeeze out some rounds. Still happy to play close middle, and they've already got banana control, as you can see by Automatic. He's pushed all the way down, spamming some bullets through, hoping that forces players over towards the A-bomb site into the hands of Skadoodle with the AWP on Arch side. But CLG, I'm very happy to say, have just slowed it down. This is the best style I think they can do. Once you even things up against Cloud9, they love making multi-frags through smoke. That's where they thrive. So you don't want to give them that. But Skadoodle's going to find a free frag there on Ethan.
Oh, bumping into each other. That could have been slightly dangerous if they had all come rushing out. But you see CLG, on the other hand, were a bit indecisive, actually. Looked like one of them wanted to run out, and the other ones were like, we'll just wait here.
I guess once you find that they do have an AWP up, because maybe you thought, what have they won? They've won. Winning that round, maybe they thought they would have broken the economy a little bit more, that Skadoodle couldn't get the AWP up, but he has managed to do so. He was positioned to take down Ethan, who overstepped that situation. And now they have to change their tack, and there's only 40 seconds left. They still have probably enough utility to pull off a bomb site attack, but to get to the top of, say, Banana, they might need to use some flashes and nades.
Oh.
That's nice. This is nice.
This is a bit of a fake. Stewie Trying with the mind games with 24 seconds left. They have no idea. Kusta, he's eaten this hook, line, and sinker. That is such a great mind game, and the bomb is making its way into the pit. If he goes down, that's round over, and that's going to be it. No chance here. Finesse just running away. Man.
Stewie is such an annoying player. How annoyed would you be? It's like, ah, man. Like, he's throwing that smoke. You're just assuming he's just holding off from the B side, but instead he's played like a bit of a weasel. Hidden behind the sandbags and able to grab a frag. I remember playing against him in Pugs, man. It was just tilt-worthy, just running through smokes, always doing those gimmicky kind of plays, but it works. The kid's a master.
I can taste the salt in your voice, Chad, and you're not even playing in the game. What's happening?
Because I can just see, you know, you should be checking that corner if you're Kusta, but when the pressure's on, the clock's running down, that's when mistakes are made, and little plays like that can be capitalized on, and Stewie's able to make magic happen in that situation. The AWP save right here, depending on how this round is approached from Cloud9, could be very effective. They know the AWP's been saved, right? They know that's in the hand. So how do you approach this? You don't want to give away any free kills. You don't want to be overstepping any corners. You don't want to wide peek anything, giving Kusta a chance to get in it. You just want to make sure you're playing it safe. And Stewie not playing it safe, of course.
Oh, absolutely not. Potentially very risky if someone had been, which people do sort of aim over that smoke. So could have been a bit scary. But now it seems like everything's calmed down a bit, and it feels like it will be very hard for Kusta to find any opening here.
Yeah, something to note, you know, while this round is unfolding, is they have their two strongest players in my mind holding that B side. Which means they're always going to be very proactive there because we know that they like to be aggressive, they like to push smokes, they always like to do those kind of plays. And then the way that they approach that, because their A players are the anchors, Skadoodle likes to sit and wait. Nothing is a bit of a hybrid, he's in between, and Shroud is definitely a bomb site anchor. They always swing automatic over when they want to play a little bit more aggressive, right? They play him close mid and stuff. So that's how they kind of fix the issue of not having any A aggression at all. You can see, look how reserved those A players are. One sitting all the way back mini pit, one in the site, one in pit. Everyone's more than happy. And this is what I'm saying. This is how you don't give away a kill. This is how you play it safe. And we'll end up going B, and this is going to be a super difficult bomb site for them to find any entries with where the Cloud9 players are holding from.
They basically need the first frag to go in really quick, and then it's going to be difficult. And the grenade and the follow-up there, nothing has gone down, but that doesn't really matter on the other side. Kusta actually getting baited out with a shot. That's a nice little move from Automatic, and now the chase is on. The round is over here. There's only 4 seconds left, so they can't really win it any longer. Oh,
he's going to
die. Gets a kill, and the clock has run out. And yes, I think he's still going to die. That's a big problem.
Man, that's such a blunder right there. Kusta should have, like, this is the indecisiveness I'm talking about. Kusta now has, like, no money. He died after the time. For those that are playing at home who don't know, if you die after the time on the T side, you get nothing.
Yes.
You don't get any money bonus. So Kusta being indecisive in that situation, he was better off just dying.
Yeah,
of course they were going to close him down and chase him. Like, just die in that situation, because right now you have $950. What are you going to get?
Unreasonable.
Maybe a train ticket.
How far are you going for $950?
Oh, wait, they live in LA. I was going to say to go home.
Oh, right.
I don't know, the Euro train's pretty expensive, isn't it? The one you got here, going through all the different countries?
I've never done that.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't. I think 900 is probably close to the mark. Probably.
This is the hurdle that CLG stumbled on last time they played Cloud9. It just felt like they were making bad economic decisions in these kind of situations, and maybe they need some faster plays, some really dry-run, well-paced rushes that they can just have openings when things aren't working. So far, it always seems very execute or default-based. There's not a lot of sporadic openings to give people like Ricky a chance to get stuck in. Even Ethan's really good in these openings, actually probably the best on this side. So Forcebuy will come in once again from CLG. They don't have a lot of utility to work with. This is where one of those players that I was talking about would come in handy.
I would like it. I still think they should try and hit Archway a bit more. Even if Skadoodle is there and he's been pretty good, I would still like to see them try and force him down.
I want to talk to you, Anders, about something which I've seen NIP doing more recently, but I think it was introduced by SK onto this map, is where they do a deeper smoke, so the smoke lands, no one else can see it besides Anders, but we're just theory crafting, lands here.
Yeah.
And then they Molotov out trash. Yeah. And what that means is this Arch player, he has to drop all the way back because either he has to push into the smoke, into the Molotov, or right into your line of sight. So it's a much better way to take that part of the map. But as you said, they're going up middle, and Shroud is just milking them.
Yeah, he's essentially playing an aim map right here. That's the 4th kill coming in. He won't get the ace, but I still think that's job well done.
For sure, yeah. Look, automatic Shroud, they're on 25 for automatic, 20 for Shroud. Skadoodle and Stewie are on 15 and 16, and then Nothing is down there on 10 frags. So, you know, it's automatic and Shroud are running away with it on their second half.
Listen, I'm going to stand my ground. They're picking up sort of Tech9 and Armor in what is a bit of sort of a half buy here, just to try and even out the economy a bit.
Yep.
They haven't gone all in, but the scoreline is 14-12.
Yeah.
I still want to see like a fast mid-arch rush.
Yeah,
you know?
do it. They've stuffed up so much with the economy at this point. They're getting close. They're just tripping at one major hurdle here. And if they were able to have a move that was faster, like I'm saying, and like you're saying, it gives them a chance to mix up the pace, which is what Cloud9 did really well on their first half. You saw them do the slower pace stuff early. Then they threw in that mid-rush, and Stewie right now, he wants these eco frags. He wants to get some kills.
Stewie, give him a chance. They're struggling to find any hope at all. And while they're setting up there, that, by the way, sort of, I mean, I don't think that's what was going to happen because they didn't really have the smokes for it, but that is the position where you do the envy execute from, more or less. So, not going to happen this time. Instead, now they're just shuffling about at top mid, not really having, I think, any way out other than death.
Yeah, it's pretty grim right now, and they're playing for the draw as well to push this one into overtime. So I hope they have that mix-up of pace coming in for the next gun round. Otherwise, it's just going to be all over Red Rover. I'm just quickly bringing up the stats right now. I think this is the worst game Ricky has had so far.
Yeah. This has been really tough. That first half was dreadful.
Yeah, when he played CLG the first time, he also had a bit of a struggle.
All right, Skadoodle. I thought Kuster and him could see each other earlier.
Maybe they got old man eyes like me.
Yeah, the staring contest in the middle of the game.
Yeah, we need something like an eye test for Counter-Strike players, because I swear I miss like half of the things. Looking at my crosshair, not seeing anything happen. And I use 4x3, so I have no excuse. What is happening?
They're changing this game. I don't know. You're the analyst, Chad. Tell me, how do they win? How are they coming back into this? Right, they wrapped the round through CT spawn with a couple of players, and now they're actually still in contention, although just as we're getting excited, it's up to Cutler with the Deagle and no armor here. They don't have any smoke. I mean, they can't at least smoke him out, but tapping the bomb once, and they are waiting for him. They're not quite sure. Oh, Cutler whiffing the first shot, giving away his position, and he gets a shot through, but he can't make it work. One more time, and it would have been there. That's 15 rounds for Cloud9 here, and they're almost there. They're almost at the finish line, at least for the first map. It's only the first map.
Here's my theory. When I start talking about things just in a completely like mundane kind of way, these crazy rounds happen.
Can you do it more than I like it?
Yeah, so we had that with Skadoodle, was it yesterday? It feels like a lifetime ago, but where he had that 1v5 situation, and there I am talking about the mistakes that Cloud9 made, and he's just busy styling on them, so...
now it's the double orb.
Oh, here we go. This is where things can get very spicy, because you have two aggressive... Well, you have Stewie, who's aggressive, and Skadoodle, who's hitting shots when he's playing passive. So this little boost here they're using on top of Banana, you can actually counter it if you know it's coming. But Ricky had no idea, and he goes down early. The woes continue for Ricky.
That's incredibly dirty.
Yeah, something which SK were doing, I think, which got countered like super hard by FaZe in one of the matches I saw. Alu like crouched out and then stood up exactly in like the line of sight for where Fallen was, just went peekaboo, and like was basically pre-shooting that line, took him down before he could even react. So there are adjustments if you know a team likes to run it, but Stewie's thrown that in as a a bit of a surprise.
There's a bit of a chicken casualty up in that Molotov. That will happen, but 4 versus 5 right now, trying to make the wrap around. FNS has made his way in towards Archway and actually pushing Stewie, I think, all the way back. So that's a bit interesting. And now he's going back through the smoke. He's creating a lot of space for his team, but they still need to get out of quad somehow. If he had landed that shot, that would have been perfect. You already highlighted that position, and Shroud is using it very well at the moment. Now, can they break the crossfire? They've got to move quick, otherwise the rotation is going to come in from the rest of the CT side. Cutler gets a kill, Shroud goes down, and now it's just Kuster. He lands 2 big kills and gives himself a slight opening here, but he has to go and pick up the bomb. It's right there, but if he doesn't plant it right now, they're going to be so close he can't even do it anymore. Picks up an AK instead. Might be the better choice. The bomb is down now. Kuster, he's done it before. At this time, it would keep them in the map and maybe have the fight for overtime be a real thing. He's turning his back, and there's just no way out here. Automatic will take him down, and that's going to be it. 16-12 here in favor of Cloud9 for the first map in this best of 3. But still, what an explosive match. I think they could have done this CLG, but they they didn't have the economy for it, and maybe also they were struggling to find the right strat on that T side.
I think there was some bad calls on that T side in the middle period there, especially with all those force buys. They took a while to get into on that CT side, but definitely props to Cloud9. They stood up when they needed to. Everyone was kind of making the frags they had to, and it was good to see.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Well, we are obviously going to have a map too, so you should stay with us. We'll go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with the panelists.
Cloud9 take the first map. Your boy, Kusta, he looked like at the end there maybe
your little man.
Your little man, Kusta, looked like at the end there maybe he was gonna save them, but not quite. It was a close game though, right?
It's a dicey position to be in that situation with the AK trapped in the bomb site like that. Yeah, it was close on the scoreboard. I didn't feel like it was actually that close though. I think CLG got very, very fortunate to win some of those rounds that they won in both halves. Some big clutches coming out, some like really big individual performances when they needed them, which is always very, very nice to have. But it did feel like that kind of made this artificially close, right? But that's fine if you're actually playing the game. Like if you're actually playing the game, keep it artificially close, and then you have a good round right at the end to put you over the top. But either way, yeah, some good stuff from Kusta. I don't think he had that great of a game overall, outside of some of the big flashy highlights, which are always nice. Cutler had a big game for CLG, obviously. I was still just so tilted this initial CLG CT side. That like they just didn't seem prepared for the speed that Cloud9 was going to have. I don't know, like when our team's just going to like just expect that kind of pace from C9. It's all they've done in this event.
Yeah, they've been very aggressive, haven't they, Matt?
Yeah, well, and this is, you kind of actually brought that up, James. You were talking about, is there a way Cloud9 can get in the face of CLG, especially on their CT sides, if they were going to try and take map control the same way they did against Luminosity? And that seemingly is it. I mean, just fight fire with fire. Go aggressive back in their face, shut them down, get the early picks, and force the defense to scatter. And especially on a map like Inferno, it's very easy to thin out a defense, especially if you have to force a rotation back over to the A site more so than B, because B is a tight choke point. It's easy to cover off with utility and timing more so than A. But yeah, no, I mean, I expected Cloud9 to take this map. CLG did do well to get momentum by winning the second half pistol. I think Shroud and Pit was good. You called Cutler. He had a few decent rounds. Yep. I think Cloud9 kind of played into it a bit lackluster a few times on their execution toward diggity, as Chad would say, and overstepping the mark ever so slightly. But yeah, no, this went pretty much how I expected it to go. In fact, maybe even a little closer.
Yeah, it certainly was very close. But yeah, Cloud9 does a good job. I mean, one of the things that they have just so many players, like, I mean, Stewie, Automatic had a very good game. Automatic had a couple rounds going through Rapside where he was such a force to be reckoned with. They just command so much attention. Both of these teams, though, playing it pretty passively. I mean, one thing it was very weird watching the T sides because like Cloud9's is super fast, CLG's was like super slow, and then it was like just very execute heavy, like no real probing, no real presence anywhere, and then an execute at a location on the map and hit the bomb site and hope you take it. And then like playing just very passive defenses to the sense of, you can't have the information, you can't know what's coming, so you can't cheat or rotate. So at times, both teams just felt like they were kind of playing a little bit blind, and it was just like, hopefully this tactic is going to counter what the other team is playing at the moment.
How do CLG counter this going into the next map?
Well, thankfully they go onto their map, which is Cache. And we already saw what they like to do on the CT side. Now, Cloud9 presumably was watching that game. They might have rocked up to the venue a little bit later.
Might have been during warm-up or something.
Yeah. Well. So someone from the Cloud9 organization should have been watching it.
Yeah, you hope so, right?
or someone that's sitting behind them should have been watching it and know that they're going to try and get Ricky in toward and Cutler in toward that checker position. They're going to try and control vents from inside of B rather than trying to push up middle, and they'll run the double up setup. So I think CLG's fine if they can hit those shots and get control of those positions. Everything's going to be great. But if Cloud9 can continue to play with pace or read where they're going to aggress, so if they're going to be aggressive in toward B main, then push into A main. Get away from B. Let them have it. That's fine because you're still forcing rotations out and you're going to take map control elsewhere. If they go into it head on, then it's just a brawl, and I don't really support that in this, especially with the double up setup on Cache. I think it's too formidable. Now, double up also means you're assuming that the economy is built up, which means that to get started to get there in the first place.
I think it's just going to be fun because this is a map like, if you're Cloud9, you've got to love this being CLG's pick because you can play this map as 2 T sides. You can be aggressive as hell, however you want on the CT side. And I mean, we saw CLG really struggle with their own T side. We saw some struggles on the T side here on Inferno as well. So I mean, this is a team that I think if they get their offense rolling, when they kind of figure out a little bit more deeper for their offensive sides, they'll be sitting pretty nice. The good news for CLG is they had someone like Ethan stepping up at times, like having good games, a more put together effort, not like anything lighting up the scoreboard, but not dropping off to a massive degree. They'll need him if they want to pick up cash. He needs to have a big game. Ricky needs to get back up there. Ricky had a pretty poor Inferno on an individual basis.
Just to touch on Ethan as well, though, when we did see him on cash, he was way better than he was in the opening map of that series for them this morning. But one thing that CLG did a lot of was try and play retakes on A on ecos. And it worked against CLG to some extent, even though there was bomb plants going in, and it was a bit, surprising. It was almost gifting a lot of territory to the Ts. That won't work against Cloud9. If they're going to play that passive A style, especially, like I said, if they're going to go aggressive on B, I think Cloud9 can exploit that.
There's been a lot of that in that first map. A lot of both teams really giving up at moments a lot of map to their opponents for seemingly no reason. I mean, a lot of times you were able to get rap side and get into those halls. FNS was able to get pretty far up and challenge without being spotted. So these defenses are playing pretty conservative, but I imagine on cash that has to change. It absolutely has to. You're just going to be for a nightmare.
Before we go deeper into cash, let's have a look at the standout player of that map.
He's my mummy.
The Mummy MVP. It's automatic with an impact rating of 5.22. What do you guys make of that?
Surprising seeing that many opening kills from him. He's usually the one I expect to have higher trade kills, but I mean, this is also just kind of what I mentioned, the ground that he's able to get over towards rap side and even defending it at times. A couple good times he was able to cut off rotations, and that was kind of the first kill. But yeah, good performance overall. Clutches is pretty not surprising that he's got 0. He's in more of the front line on the T side, and then Cloud9's kind of retake strategy is just throw bodies at the problem before it becomes a massive problem, right? So we don't often see, I feel like CLG gets into some of those 2-on-2, 3-on-3 clutches. It's more just if it works, and they win.
Cool. So we have a... What's up, Matt?
No, nothing. Just the transition was so perfect that it went back to him because he was in a rant, and then it was the exact moment he stopped talking. So it just came to him waiting for you to
That's what I do, boys. Perfect timing.
Just throwing off production. It's all your fault.
It was perfect timing. So now we have the players in Santa Ana. We have an interview, actually, from there with Finesse.
So ever since Rick and I joined the team, I brought more of a tactical approach to the team.